Welcome to another episode of the Rankum Podcast. I'm Garrett C. Wright. We thank you for listening to this special episode, and if you read the title, you can guess what this podcast is going to be about. After a really long, fun, I think it's been 14 months, maybe 15 months now, Don and I have decided that we're going to end the Rankum Podcast, at least as it currently sits, or as we have had, weekly episodes for the last, what is episode 66? Episode 60, so the last 66 weeks. I mean, that's not true. We've had a couple of double episode weeks or whatever, but it's the end as we know it right now. We're going to keep the option open to come back at a different time or to do special episodes when we feel like we've got an item or a topic that we feel super strongly about. So I hope you keep, stay subscribed to the podcast or whatever. But it is the final episode. And that it's one that's been coming, I think, for a while. Don just started a new job. My brother, who'd been a frequent contributor to the podcast, he just started a new job and moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan. If you don't know, I assume you know, this is what I do as a career. I have a sports radio talk show, and so it just got to be where it felt like this was an extension of work. So when you came home, I just kept working, or on the weekends, we would set up times to record podcasts, and that felt like work. And so it got to be not as much fun as when we first started, if I'm being honest with you. It wasn't a fun decision. It wasn't an easy decision. It's something I had thought about for a while, and I had pitched to Don the other day and just said, hey, I don't know that I want to do this anymore. And I got to give Don a ton of credit. He was more than kind and more than gracious and said, hey, I understand. And so that's where we sit right now. Obviously, like I said, we'll leave it open to bring this back in the future if things, in my life change or Don's life changes or my brother's life changes or whatever the case may be. We'll consider bringing it back at a different time. But as for right now, this will be the final farewell, I guess, final reoccurring episode of the Rankum Podcast. It got to be difficult to think up topics that we felt strongly about or we felt like people would care about, things like that. So it just got to be really difficult. And it was a fun thing to get us through the pandemic, if we're being honest. I got this equipment that we use for our podcast so I could work from home during the pandemic and turned it into a fun project where, we got to talk about really stupid, crazy things that, at the end of the day, it led me to really get to know one of my best friends much better and really get to know my brother much better, or some of our friends, Reese and Kiwan, better, and take me inside their brain. So there are tons of positives to take away from this. I will look back fondly at the times we spent making these podcasts, and for the people who enjoy them, we certainly appreciate them. It's led to new friendships. It's led to people reaching out that we haven't talked to in a long time, or whatever the case may be. I think the hope was when we started this, or when we got 10 to 15 episodes deep, was maybe we could be the next Joe Rogan, or we could be the next whoever that turns this into their job, that this is how we make a living, is creating these podcasts and creating videos and things like that. And after 65 episodes, I think it became clear, like, hey, maybe this isn't going to be the meal ticket we had originally hoped for or anything like that. We would need to make roughly $80,000 more in revenue per year than we do right now for that to be our normal jobs. So this is the end as it sits right now. And as I said, we'll reserve the option to do these again sporadically, or if we feel like there's a special topic that we can think of or anything like that. But this is the final episode of the Rankin Podcast. And so we thank you so much for those who have listened to every episode or sent in ideas or proudly wore the magnets that we've given out on the back of their cars. However you've helped us out, whether you've told your friends about us, whether you've given us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, whatever the case may be, we really do appreciate it. And from the bottom of my heart, and Don wasn't able to be here for this episode, but I'm sure he would tell you the same thing. He really appreciates everybody that's listened and texted and given ideas, Facebook message, all of those things that have participated and really enjoyed what we do and what we put out. There have been a lot of great moments. There are a lot of I think specific sentences or diatribes that we've each gone on that I'll remember and think of fondly. But this is the final Rankin Podcast as it sits right now. So again, thank you so much. We appreciate it way more than you'll ever know. And I think it's only fitting that we go out one final time with Don's rendition of the theme song. So we'll catch you later. You can still follow me on Twitter at Garrett Seawright. You can follow Don on Twitter at Donnie_G. You can also watch him stream on Twitch. He's fun to follow, watch, play video games. So check that out, and still support us however you can. We need all the help we can get. So I think the best way to go out is by playing Don's version of the theme song. And we will catch you next time, however it is, wherever, whenever that is, on the Rankin Podcast.
Bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum 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 ba da 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 dum bum 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 ba na 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 bum 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 ba na 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 bum 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 ba na 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 bum 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 ba na na ba na na bum 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 ba na 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 bum 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 ba na 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 bum 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 ba na 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 bum 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 ba na